Yeah, I agree. I do think that a lot of men want these types of desires, and I don't know if it's biology or what it is. Sometimes I don't even think that necessarily matters. It's probably like environmental, but I know personally when I talk to a lot of guys or that are my friends, they're like, I love you and I adore you, but I couldn't date you.
What do you make of that? Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, and I don't know if it's because I, as a woman, would, I guess, biologically would look for the most suitable male and would probably have multiple children. If it was a primal world, I'd be like, oh, he's like 6 feet tall and a big hunky man, and he's like a smart, lovely gentleman. Like, I would imagine maybe I would have these desires to have these different types of children, so it could explain my attraction to a variety of men. But I also feel like men would naturally be that way too. But I don't know really what it is. Like, I think like what is it? One of the big cats, like lions or something, will kill the young of another. You know,
it's even worse than that. You
go
want to get into it?
Yeah.
I believe the idea is that if the head of the pride changes and there's a new lion at the head, not only will he kill the young offspring of his predecessor, but that horribly, the female lion's response to this is to go into estrus, to become receptive and aroused by the killing of their young, right? Like, no, I mean, nature is just so bizarre.
So crazy.
It's so crazy, right? And we can't really accept this in part. And so my belief is that a lot of what you're seeing is the evolutionary program that says if I know this person to be so aroused, it's not their personality, their looks, their this, their that. One, they've got a tremendous amount of sexual knowledge, so they're going to know exactly where I am on the totem pole of sexuality, which is terrifying. I think there's another aspect that has to do with how do I know this person isn't going to pick up and take off with somebody else because they've had their norms adjusted. And there's another one that says, how do I know that any child will be mine? But more than anything, my guess is, how do I know that I won't be mercilessly teased because everyone will say, hey, I saw your girlfriend naked. I saw her doing this. I saw her doing that. And so the assault on the male ego, and, just to be honest about it, I think almost none of us are secure enough to deal with it.
Oh, yeah. I know that every guy that I've dated publicly faces a large amount of sliding in the DMs of very aggressive, harassment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that even after our breakup, they are still dealing with the harassment because we were at one time a public image together. And I would see some of the comments and they are absolutely brutal and terrible. And it's even actually one of the reasons why I'm terrified to have children, because I think that I'm being the best mother possible by not having children, because I think that the life that they could live could be full of suffering, whereas they'll be shamed their entire life possibly. Whereas, that same statement where, how do you know that's your real dad? I've seen your mom take on many partners, and like all of these kinds of very hurtful, terrible things, and
direct assaults on our construct of masculinity. And this is why, I noticed the other day that Jenna Jameson, who was obviously a person in an era slightly before yours at the top of the porn profession, was following me and tweeting about the Jeffrey Epstein situation. And she is pretty aggressive, and she's got her kid in her picture at the top of her Twitter profile. And that is a very aggressive mama bear who is not taking any shit from anybody. I think, one of the things you ever see this movie, The Martian?
It sounds right. Is that the one with
Matt Damon?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I did not actually see it.
Okay. You know how, it's one thing to get a human to Mars, but it's much more difficult to imagine how we're going to get a human back. So maybe it's easy to go one way. I think of planet porn as like Mars, that very often there's a portal into something where you have a lot to learn. And that's part of the reason that, I was eager to have you on the program. But it's not clear that there's a return ticket.
Oh, I agree. 100%. I think that it is a very, that's why one thing I was saying earlier is like, is the seal of approval that I become a scientist, you know, like
Right.
what do I have to do to become acceptable in the public's eye?